Shalom. I just want to do a little clip of this man video here. Shahid Bolsen, I guess that's how you pronounce the name. Shahid Bolsen on Charlie Kirk assassination. And just want to do a little lesson on this here pertaining to scripture. So let me pull out the fair use. This is by the AI overview. Fair use is a U.S. copyright law doctrine allowing the limit use of copyrighted material without permission for purpose like commentary, criticism, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. So I'm gonna end it right there. Just want to be protected with the copyright law, fair use. So also let me start off by giving my introduction, giving all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rikon Kodash, and double honor to the man of great millstone that is out there on the highway and byway, pushing the truth day in and day out, also pushing the truth over the worldwide internet, reaching for the elect and pull them out of a two-thirds state of mind so that we can be beamed up on those chairs of salvation to live in the kingdom under King David and the Supreme King, Yahweh Shai, which he has the title of command and authority and rulership over heaven and earth. Those titles was given to Yahweh Shai by his father Yahweh. Also, I'm not a member of GMS, but I believe GMS has the 100% truth of the Bible to the Akim and Aqua, which are the men and women that listen and continue to pray for more faith, repent and fast, and keep the laws and commandments to the best of your ability, as it states in John 14:15. If ye love me, keep my commandment, as well as Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahweh and keep his commandment, for this is the whole duty of man. And what you see here, um, it says, do not let the hatred of a people lead you to injustice. Now, we know by being in the truth that we're not going to take vengeance. We're not going, to do anything that's going to cause the faith, cause the truth, to be in harm's way. And we have to understand because, there are some brothers in other camps that will get this truth blamed. And the men, they are not learned. So let me just go into the scriptures on what I just said for as blaming, getting this truth blamed. So just bear with me. And this is the AI. So this statement, do nothing to blame the ministry. Blame Salakia. There was a typo. I'm typing too fast, but that King James version is a misquote of this. Yeah, that's a misquote. What I put in the blank up there. It says here, the point where I want to get at is 2 Corinthians 6 and 3. I tell you what, let me just read it right here. 2 Corinthians 6 and 3 says, giving no offense in anything that the ministry be not blamed. So, you're going to have some of these brothers that are not in GMS that's probably going to, go and get in an Edomite face and, laugh or whatever, Now, if it's on your platform and you drinking behind, you want to pour up a drink behind this man there, then that's your business. But going up to an Edomite or going up to a rally where they having a candle, what you call, on the behalf of this man's life or whatever, don't go up there and do that, because Esau, he's looking to blame the men that are in the truth. He's looking to blame 2/3 of our people so that he got to find somebody to blame, but this came from his own people. But he still have that perpetual hatred, even though Esau, another man that looked like him, did it. He still have that hate because most of our people are what, Democrat. So he will point the finger back at you, Jake and Eve. So we're no longer under that voting stuff, Democrat and Republican and all that. But the Bible tells us not to deal with that. Whether Matthew 15:17 or 17:15. Is it Matthew or something? Hold on a minute. Deuteronomy, let's see. 17:15. It says to Deuteronomy 17 and 15, we'll start there. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy power shall choose. So, the Heavenly Father, he's going to set a king over the children of Israel, of their own people. One from among their brethren, there you go, shall thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. So, a lot of you Jakes and Eve that voted for these people to rule over you, to set certain laws in your community and stuff like that. Yeah, he's mad at y'all. Well, he's mad at everyone, and he's mad at all people because we understand that. But the Heavenly Father gonna show favor to to the hopeful elect, the people that serving the Lord, that is not participating in voting. So Esau, he coming after you 2/3. So again, giving no offense in anything that the ministry be not blamed. So like I said, you're gonna have 2/3 Jake that's out there and Edomite and these white people face celebrating over this man death, knowing they crushed, they heartbroken. You don't want to add, fire. You don't want to add gasoline to a fire that's already lit. But 2/3 Jake's gonna do it. We gonna sit back and if the brothers decide to drink, and celebrate that way, then it is what it is. But don't, have some smart about you. Don't go out there and present your body, to mark the death of this man. Because listen, the way these Edomites feel right now, they'll probably kill you and get away with it. So this right here, this man, he's a Muslim, Shahid Bolsen, is he's going to go in on Charlie Kirk. So let's hear it.
Okay, so they want me to talk about this boy, Charlie Kirk, who got shot in Utah. Him getting shot in Utah makes him, I believe, American number 18,533 who got shot in the U.S. this year, shot and killed. And I think that there were 3 more people who were shot and killed in Colorado, just over the mountains, within hours of his shooting. And all of the flags in America are going to fly half-mast, not for those 18,335 other victims, but they're going to fly half-mast for Charlie Kirk. That's just an observation. You can do with it what you will. I'll be honest, when I first heard that he had been shot, I made a joke about it on X, because frankly, I'm just as you.
And when I heard him say that, I did say in one of my videos that I wouldn't be surprised if they build a statue and set it up, the very next day. Because this is how much these people love this man. And, he was a bigot. I don't care what no one said, he was a bigot.
To theatrics coming out of America, as I am used to gun violence coming out of America, and I thought that theatrics seemed more likely in this case. But when I did learn that he died, I deleted my post. I deleted it out of respect, not for him, but for the severity and for the solemnity of the judgment that he has now proceeded to. Because everything that he ever said and everything that he ever did that harmed anyone, well, he's going to answer for that. He's going to answer for that right now in his meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the heavy...
Well, I don't know about that right there for the name of the Lord. We know the true name of the Lord, Yahweh, your Father, Yahweh Shai. And, he's right now in the spiritual world getting, sitting on that judgment seat, getting judged. Now he knows the reason why he got taken out of here. And he's going to know why when he come back that he's going to be in the captivity. He's going to be in slavery. So yeah, he's in get out of here. 2 Corinthians 5 and 10, King James Version. Well, I'll just read this AI. 2 Corinthians 5 and 10 is a Bible verse that states, "For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Hamashiach, so that each one may receive what is due for what he has done in his body, whether good or evil." So, yeah, he's getting judged right now. You best believe that. Just like what he just said.
Going to answer for that. He's going to answer for that right now in his meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the heaviness of that meeting is disturbing to any of us who believe in it. But we'll talk about it. Let's start with the obvious, okay? First, I'm not going to feign grief or feign mourning for this person. I know that's a hypocrisy that social etiquette demands at a moment like this, but we all know that he would certainly not grieve for us. He certainly would not mourn for us, just as he never grieved and he never mourned for the wanton slaughter of the Palestinians in Gaza. He never grieved for that. And for myself personally, as a Muslim,
and also, he didn't mourn or grieve for the northern kingdom getting deported, separated from their family, and they doing the same thing for us. They coming after us. He did not once get on his platform and say that ICE was out of line, that Trump was out of line. He was in the agreement with deporting these people, not just the criminals, but everybody, even the workers. That's why a lot of these farms are behind on their harvest, because they have nobody to work the field. And then he got a lot of these people that wasn't criminals, put chains and shackles on their feet and put them in those jumbo jet planes. And we all heard the story, how they flew them over the Atlantic and dropped them off in the ocean. Wasn't no big crowd over that. And everybody crying over this man like he was a God that did miracles, that raised the dead and stuff like that. See, when it's their people that they love, die by assassination or whatever, they go berserk. When our people die or get assassinated, or mainly get assassinated, by the police or whatever, hey, we don't listen. We cry. A lot of our people march or whatever. Yeah, we upset. But the deal is, we get over it, and then what they gonna have to do? They gonna have to just get over it, point blank, period. But with these people here, they looking to blame someone. You need to blame your own people, blame your government. They the one set this up. This, and I really do believe that this is a setup, and he's gonna go more in detail to it. But this right here was pretty much a setup, and it was a setup that he didn't know nothing about. So he was he was just a animal set for slaughter, and he didn't know.
As a critic of Western so-called civilization, I know that Charlie Kirk himself would most likely have, officially anyway, considered me to be his enemy. And as far as I'm concerned, any man whose enemy mourns him when...
And he's our enemy. 2 Corinthians 12 and 10. Hold on. got the wrong chapter, but trying to get how can I forget the chapter? I've been saying it all along. I cannot believe this. I want to Google it, but it just I forgot the chapter just that quick. Acts Romans. Well, just for time, let me just Google it. I'm gonna be upset. Never trust thy enemy, King James Version. Ecclesiastes, Lord have mercy. Never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. So, he's everybody's enemy right now. You just heard the man say that, he's an enemy to the Muslim. So he's an enemy to everyone that's on the face of the earth because he wants to be the police of the earth. He wants everybody to learn English. He wants everybody, to use his dollar. But everybody breaking away. People going into the BRICS, starting their own financial dollar to get away from the U.S. dollar. That's why everything is up. That's why people are struggling because so much stuff is expensive right now, and people crashing out and wilding out and crying on TikTok. It's because of this man, the wicked, and he's in rulership. Job 9:24, right? Let's go down. He's the wicked. He's the one that caused the problem. But they have to blame Jake for everything. The earth is given to the hands of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. He covered Yahweh's face. He covered Yahweh's face, the Father and the Son, and all our prophets, and all, every major figure in the Bible. He want to put his image in there. So this is our enemy. It's the world enemy. The whole world want to come against this man.
Considered me to be his enemy. And as far as I'm concerned, any man whose enemy mourns him when he dies, well, he wasn't doing his job.
Sure wasn't.
And I don't think it can be said about Charlie Kirk that he didn't do his job, which is to say that he never did anything and he never said anything in his public life that would make me mourn his passing, just as I hope that I will never say or do anything in my public life that would make my enemies grieve for my passing. They should be happy when I die. Enemies are disturbed by each other's presence, not by each other's absence. But let me also be crystal clear about this. It doesn't make me happy either. I neither mourn nor celebrate. Neither of those reactions is appropriate, in my opinion. Whoever pulled that trigger didn't do it for me and they didn't do it for you. I don't even see them as being on two different sides. They didn't silence Charlie Kirk. They amplified Charlie Kirk. The power structure never cared about that boy. They used him. Mm-hmm. And he's more useful to them now than he was the day before. He's more useful to them dead than he was alive. Listen, you don't defeat someone like this, someone like a Charlie Kirk, a tool like him, by letting that tool mold you into exactly what they want you to be. That killer didn't deliver justice. If you think they did, he didn't. He delivered to the power structure an even more enhanced weapon. He made a mediocre, but dangerous and polarizing figure, Charlie Kirk, into now an impeachable icon for the very fan base that he most likely despises. And he made criticism of Charlie Kirk's ideas. Now it's disrespect for the dead. This is not resistance. This is a gift. This is a gift to the very security state that he probably thought he was attacking. Now it's stupidity. Or maybe, as the conspiracy theories are already speculating, what actually happened was just a purge of an expendable asset to create a more powerful symbol. Oh, they'll use his death. Oh, how they will use it. They will use his death to paint every dissenting voice, every cry for a more just world. They'll paint it with the same bloody brush. They're going to use his death to avoid, once again, ever having to look in the mirror. They're going to hold Charlie Kirk's body up as a shield against any examination of the society that created him and the society that created his killer, the society that they made and that they rule, and you didn't do anything now but strengthen their hold on that society. They're going to use his corpse as a pulpit to preach from, and you just validated all the lies that they're going to be preaching. You understand?
Exactly. They're going to use his death as a tool to come after you, Jake. You know, that's why they popping up all these videos showing that Jake with the dreads stabbing up that white girl. And there was another one unaliving, I want to say in Georgia, where this Jake unalived this white girl. See, they're gonna go back to that old tactic. They're gonna use, hey, these Jakes are killing our women. We gotta go in, to these major cities like DC, like Chicago, like New Orleans, where these so-called black males at, and say where these mayors, MAYOR, where they're gonna say, well, these guys here, they're not, or the women that's mayor over these cities, they not holding up crime as harsh. They're not putting their foot down on crime. What I meant to say, and that he's going to use his power to come in those cities and use what just happened to this guy here as the anger, the push behind his drive, and he's going to do what he wants, especially Chicago. And those ignorant YNs there in Chicago, boy, I'm telling you, y'all just don't know what's coming y'all way. And I know how a lot of black men and black women can be, especially, black men. A lot of stuff we talk is shit. A lot of stuff we talk is a lot of bluffing. And then you're going to have some that's going to, they're going to stand up. Yeah, but you're going to lose. So, yeah, they going to use the little chair incident that a lot of black folks was using on their memes that happened, I want to say back in May, when that black guy pick up that chair and start whooping that white guy tail. Oh yeah, they're gonna put all this stuff together as a big ass collage, and they're gonna blame Jake for everything. Even this shooting, they blaming Jake because most Jakes are Democrats. You got sprinkles of whites here and there. So, just because one white guy kill another white guy, they're gonna come after you Negroes too. So yeah, he's right. He's gonna use this. These people here are gonna use this man as a tool for revenge.
Enemy, because listen, the truth is the Charlie Kirks of the world are not the enemy. The enemy is the society, it's the system, it's the power structure, it's the so-called civilization that creates boys like Charlie Kirk. I call him a boy because that's what he is to me. I'm 54 years old. That's what he is to me, or that's what he was. And also because he presented a childish, simplistic cartoon portrait of America that only a young boy could ever believe in. He presented an America without complexity, without guilt, without the burden of their terrible history. Well, that's a seductive product. And America has always been an eager market for that sort of a product.
And also, when you look at his videos, he's known for making light of your history, of your adversity, all the stuff that you went through. He make light of that and say, well, slavery, that's in the past. You should get over it. But he don't tell the small headers that, and they celebrate their Holocaust every year. Then when they talk about the 80s drug wars and stuff like that, well, it was a choice. All right. Well, we can agree that some of the stuff was a choice, but how did it get there? How did drugs and the guns get there? everything. Like I said, you can look at what you call a "Don't Kill the Messenger." You can look at Snowfall, and it will break it down of how Esau put drugs and guns in our neighborhood. Because when you go back a little bit farther back, this man has the power to dictate who's going to work in his plants, who's going to work in his corporations, and he raised the women over men and had men to scratch and scrape to try to find work. And this man, or multiple men, had families, and then here come welfare, here come these job opportunities, and they was given to the lesser vessel, which was the woman. And guess what the woman did? She took hold of that, and she decided to take the side of the government instead of taking the side of her man. So he has the power to ruin families, to break families up. Giving them welfare, and if a man in there, he can't. I mean, she can't receive it. But during the time of the depression, his family, the so-called white man family, the man, woman, and child receive it. But now, during the time in the late 60s, early 70s, if a man was in the house, only the woman and child can get it. So they exempt the man. He had to get out the house, and then they uplift the woman. That's Isaiah 32 and 22. You can look that up. And for the woman surpassing the man. And so when they put drugs and guns in the neighborhood, and this man or multiple men been looking for a job and trying to take care of their family, and they see that it's a quick way, fast way to make money, guns and drugs, guess what he did? Pick it up and use it on his own people. But the deal is, it all starts from the beginning. The wicked brought that shit in our neighborhood. But he will look over that and say, well, now, look at your people. It's still they chose now. They still want drugs. They still want this. They still want that. It was like it was no pity, no care for your people. Your people is the problem now. That's in the 60s. Get over it. See, that was his type of attitude. Quit blaming us. Listen, it's an ongoing cycle. It's an ongoing cycle. The only way that you can stop that is give every so-called black man and black boy, or all of us are, what we are due for, reparation. Knowing we ain't gonna get it, but I say reparation. Everybody, get a brand new house, 2-car garage, money in the bank, right along reparation, and give us ownership of our own business, But you're not going to do that. You took everything else away from us. You're not going to tell her the truth about who our power is in the heavenly realm. You're not going to do that. You stole everything spiritual from us. You stole everything cardinal from us. So you owe us. But you're not going to do that. You're going to want to come down on the people that's at the bottom and say they're the issue when you have all the power to stop what's going on, but you keep it going on. You keep the so-called black and brown community down. We don't have the power to change nothing when you own these neighborhoods and these apartment complexes. You got your overseer out there like vultures ready to gun a so-called black man down and haul him in jail and put him in these private prisons. It's a system, and he understands that system.
He existed because of supply and demand. You demand and the power structure supplies. The killer and the killed are the products of the same sick society. Kirk and his killer, and the other 18,535 victims and their killers. And wallahi, if you don't clock this reality, if you don't understand this reality, and if you let yourself get swept up in all the narratives and all the counter-narratives, then you might just end up being like one of them, on one side or the other side of that gun. because the machine is already spinning. The machine, that same machine that Charlie Kirk served so faithfully. They're spinning the narrative now. They're going to label him as a martyr for free speech, a victim of left-wing extremism. And they're going to use his death, they're going to use it to demand more surveillance, more censorship, more policing, more militarization of the police against their opponents.
Right.
You know, more police powers. They're going to use his blood to sanitize his ideology and to legitimize every poisonous thing that he ever said. And some of you are out here cheering about what happened. Well, you're fools. Why, when you celebrate,
So like it for that. So like it, 1 second.
all you do is elevate and strengthen their narrative. Charlie Kirk was not an outlier. He was a product. He was the logical output of a system that's designed to generate exactly what he was. Like I said, he didn't create the demand. The demand was already there. He just exploited it. He sold a fantasy, like I say, a fantasy where all of the problems of modern America, economic decay, economic despair, cultural displacement, and cultural unrest, political powerlessness, these are all not the inevitable results of late-stage capitalism and a dying empire. No. It's all the fault of immigrants. It's all the fault of minorities. Some internal enemy that's not in power. Well, now he's been killed, and his death is going to be used to service that same system. The security state benefits, the politicians that he supported benefit, the media benefits because they get endless hours now of content, of debate, of fear-mongering, of polarization mining. You understand me? The entire apparatus of control gets a massive boost. His killing was not an attack on the system. It was a gift to the system. You didn't extinguish a fire, you just scattered the embers and made it more dangerous. The individual who pulled that trigger, their motives are irrelevant. It doesn't matter if they saw themselves as a revolutionary or they saw themselves as a vigilante. Their actions serve a deeply counter-revolutionary purpose. You understand me? You didn't help Muslims. You didn't help so-called minorities. You didn't help immigrants. You didn't help women. You didn't help anyone. All you did was exactly what they created Charlie Kirk to goad you into doing. Please understand. You contributed now. Whoever did this contributed to exactly the climate that they created Charlie Kirk to create. No, they're both servants of chaos. The killer and the killed. No, you don't need a bullet. You need a brain. You need a mind that can't be manipulated. You need an inflammable heart. A heart that can stay calm, cool, and collected when everything around you is in flames. That's what you need. And wallahi, you can't let the hatred of a people cause you to act unjustly, or to advocate or to endorse injustice, or to celebrate injustice. Don't let that boy's enmity towards us and ours towards him make you think that his murderer is our ally. No, you don't answer words with bullets. You know, back in the day, back in the time of the Sahaba, when the Muslims would fight against the Kuffar, the Kuffar, they would bring their drummers and they would bring their singing girls to egg them on. Nobody ever killed them. Well, that's what Charlie Kirk was. You don't win a war by targeting the singing girls and the drummers of your enemy. That's no strategy. I've said many, many times, you have to erect your partitions around your discourse, around your people, around what you let into your mind, or you're going to lose your focus, and you're going to lose your purpose, and you're going to get confused, and you're going to make bad decisions. You're going to make wrong decisions.
Okay, well, I'm going to end it right there. I know I just got a little bit left, but I don't want to keep it dragging too long, but this was a very good listen. If you want, you can listen to the whole thing, but I just wanted to say a few little things on what he said. Just be ready and prepared, to see Edomites soon to come with pictures and ribbons and armbands with his face on it, and they're going to use this man as a tool for revenge on you Democrat Jakes and pretty much everybody in general with a so-called black face, you know. And even gonna be, like I said, gonna be sedition amongst men, you know, with their own people, you know. So it was just something I just wanted y'all to hear, and I'm gonna end it right there. Shalom.